It's officially the best time of the year, or at least my favorite time of the year. If you're a NBA head like I am and a lot of the people that are on this YouTube app, I think that it gets boring for casuals. And not saying casuals is necessarily a bad thing. I just think it gets boring in general to for everybody to watch the same players be on the same team over and over again. We didn't see a blockbuster, but we did kind of see something that is gonna shake up the league for sure. So a lot of Kings players and fans and just Reddit and subworders and everybody that is in the Kings organization was saying that the Kings got fleeced. Me personally, I don't feel like the Kings got fleeced. Domantas Sabonis is a two-time All-Star. He's been in All-Star consideration. I feel like this year he was in All-Star consideration, but the Pacers suck so bad. And I feel like 2 weeks ago I went on record saying that the Pacers need to blow it up. So Pacers, as far as the Pacers trade goes, you get Tyrese Halliburton, you get Buddy Hield, and you get Tristan Thompson. Buddy Hield is obviously one of the top 5 3-point shooters in the league. He's a good catch and shoot. And these numbers from Halliburton that I didn't know is that he's 43% catch and shoot. He's super effective in the pick and roll, which is obviously an eye test. And he shoots like 49% for effective field goal percentage, which is incredible, especially for a point guard. So I don't really understand where the Pacers are trying to take it. I guess if they are in like the 10 to 12 seed, maybe they want to get a play-in. And me personally, I never, for any NBA team, like, it's fun to have NBA teams be fun. It's fun to have NBA teams be good. It's fun to have NBA teams win games. Obviously, every franchise wants their team to win games. But these teams are just settling with being in a play-in spot. And me as a fan, like, that's not something that I'm happy for. Like, I'd rather just tank, get a top pick. But, I mean, the Pacers have been consistently happy with being in an 8 seed. If you look back, like, I don't know how their fan base feels about it, but they've consistently been in the 8 seed, been in the play-in spot, and their organization seems fine with that. So they're kind of not hitting a rebuild set. I think where they're going in this direction is kind of like, okay, let's be good enough to compete, but let's be bad enough to get a top 8, top 10 pick. So that's how I feel about it. And then when you look on the Kings side, they got Justin Holiday, who's definitely, to me, the Holiday brothers are underrated shooters. Pacers had Aaron and Justin last year, and then Aaron got traded, and now they just gave away Justin to the Kings. And Justin, Kings fans, I think you're going to actually enjoy that a lot. Justin Holiday can spread the floor. He's a good shooter. He's a 3-and-D player. He reminds me a lot of like a Danny Green, but he's definitely a knockdown shooter. Not anywhere as close to Buddy Hield, but defensively, he's a lot better than Buddy Hield, so I will say that. So Kings players and fans, I think they were saying like, oh, we're losing a lot of shooting, but Justin Holiday does help that. Jeremy Lamb, I mean, he's turning into more of a bust as time goes by, so I don't think that's anything. But then the big piece in this is that you get Sabonis, and me personally, when I first saw the trade, I was like, wow, Kings won the trade. And then I was reading things, and Kings fans were pretty upset when it came down to the trade. So I guess you're upset that you give up Tyrese Halliburton, but in my opinion, I feel like De'Aaron Fox is the better player of the two, because I don't know what you guys wanted. I think 2 weeks ago they went on record saying that Tyrese Halliburton was untouchable, and Tyrese was like trying to make the most of his opportunities. He was like, I love Sacramento, we're going to win, we're going to do that, and then they ship him off. They just like, hey, your ass is out of here. So I don't know. The Kings organization has consistently been bad. They consistently get good players and ship them out. I think Bagley is the next one to go. I think Fox won't be there very long. I don't know what the team looks weird right now. I guess you have Fox, Rashard Holmes, Bagley, Sabonis. So that's 3 big men right there. So honestly, if I were to rate the trade for the Pacers, I'd probably give it a B, because they got Reese out of it. And with no disrespect, Reese is a monster. I think his ceiling is high, but I don't know if it's as high as a De'Aaron Fox, even though Fox has been having an off year. And then as far as your ceiling for the Kings, I'd give the trade probably a C-, because you still got an all-star caliber player. Domantas Sabonis is a top 5 center in the league. So if Kings fans, I wouldn't be too upset. Now I kind of want to transition over to the other trade that we saw happen. So a week ago, or about 5 days ago, we saw Norman Powell get shipped out of Portland to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe and Justin Winslow. So I understand that they want cap space, and we need to just stop saying cap space for these small market teams because nobody's going to want to come to Portland unless they really want to play with Damian Lillard. And it just makes no sense to me. I think they're going to blow it up. I think this is Dame's last year. They're going to give him some pieces that he wants around it. Maybe they're doing something that we don't know, but as NBA fans, everybody's like, what the hell is going on? Damian Lillard wants a rebuild. Maybe they go get Ben Simmons. I don't think Dame and Ben work together. They trade Nurkic. I don't know what they're trying to do there, but that trade to me was a F. Blazers got completely feast. You give up Norman Powell, at least try to go get Coffee or like a decent player like Zubac or somebody on the Clippers, but you get Bledsoe, who is a regular season point guard, and then you get Winslow, who is proven to be a bust throughout his 4 years in the NBA. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick and great coming out of college, but everything he's done right now has led up to being a bust. So you make that trade, Portland, and everybody's like, what the hell? And then you make another trade. So the Portland Trailblazers reportedly 2 days ago they trade C.J. McCollum for Josh Hart, Nikhil Alexander Walker, NWA, and then no, not NWA, NKA, Nikhil Alexander Walker, NAW, my bad, and then who else did they? I'm blanking right now. Who else did they put in that package deal? Oh, a first round pick. So it's a first round projected pick. And I also know the Clippers were upset that they gave up Keon Johnson, but it doesn't really make any sense to me because Keon hasn't even played yet. So Norman Powell, I'm taking it all day when Paul George and Kawhi come back. Anyway, so let's go to the Pelicans side of this trade. Clippers A+ for that trade for sure. Pelicans, Portland F. You don't really get anything back. Norman Powell is 42% off the catch and shoot, which with Kawhi and PG kicking it out to him, like that's money all day long. So Portland got fleeced for that. They're like, oh, we went under the salary cap. Like I said, it makes no sense for me for a team to go under the salary cap that is a small market. If it was the Lakers, it would make sense, but nobody wants to play in Portland unless they make a huge trade or something, but they don't really have any assets. They just gave up all their assets. So now you trade McCollum and you get Josh Hart and an NAW, and then you send McCollum to the Pelicans. For the Pelicans, you have McCollum, Ingram, and Zion. Valanciunas. I personally like this. I mean, once again, I'm saying the same things for the Pacers. Like, oh, you make it to a play-in spot, you're a 10 seed, you make the playoffs or you don't. Like, is that the ceiling? If Zion comes back, maybe next year they could be a playoff team. So if they're going to keep this team and rebuild, or if they use McCollum to go get a point guard, I heard they were looking at Schroeder and Ben Simmons and stuff like that. But for the Pelicans, this is an exciting front and back court for me. Your point guard depth is kind of taken away. You have Frank Jackson, but it is exciting for me because if Zion can stay healthy, which we have seen that we don't know anything about that, and then McCollum, Ingram, if they keep that core, that's a scary team, especially when all healthy, but we know that's all said and done in the NBA because teams are difficult to stay healthy. For the Portland Trailblazers side, this is a C-, the D, honestly. This is a D. Actually, this is an F because you give up. Nikhil is a good player. He's one of my favorite young players in the league, but he's nowhere on the level that McCollum is at yet. And I understand Blazers are trying to get rid of McCollum because he's injury prone, so it makes sense. And you get a first out of it. I give it a D. And then as far as for the Pelicans, I'd probably give it like a B+. Because you're getting C.J. McCollum, who last year, 2 years ago, was top 25 player in the league. Anyway, so the NBA is going to be completely reset. I will be coming in here tomorrow and probably making another video of teams and players that are shifted all around the place, but this is just my biggest takeaway from it. Why are you clearing up cap space in a small market? Nobody really wants to go play in Portland, and I just think we need to stop saying, oh, they got under the luxury tax, they cleared up cap space. Like, for what? For what player? Who's available? Ben Simmons? DeAndre Ayton is not leaving Phoenix. Russell Westbrook's going to take the $44 million player option. Chris Paul's going to get re-signed, so I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, it's your boy. Like, sub, Young Curd.